One of the biggest differences I see between profitable and unprofitable traders is the way that they are able to frame trades. In this YouTube video, I'm going to be going through how I teach my framing trades lesson from my mentorship. This is one of the last lessons that I do. I'm going to be doing this as a live lesson in my Discord, and I just wanted to share it with you guys. I hope it provides some insight and helps you figure out how to be properly framing your trades. This is going to be about an hour-long lesson. I'm going to be taking live Q&A from my Discord as well, so you might see pauses in between there. But I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And if you like it, like the video, subscribe. Again, I just want to be posting as much content that is helpful for you guys as possible. This is going to be my framing trades lesson from my mentorship. This is one of the last lessons I do. So I've already gone through all of this inside of the mentorship. It's, volume VWAP, volume profiles, market operation, statistical edge, fibs, higher time frame analysis, bookmap and CVD with light order flow, news and macro, and then framing trades is one of the last lessons. So really, this is going to be, some of you might get a lot out of this, some of you might get a little because you don't have the proper background, but maybe you're a beginner trader, maybe you've been trading for a while, you're looking for that last connection, that last missing piece. So framing trades, I think, is one of the most important pieces that a lot of you guys are probably missing. Most of the traders that I see who are extremely profitable or are working towards a level of consistency, level of good profitability, is the way that they frame trades. So I'm just going to start getting into it. If you guys have any questions before I get started, just let me know in the chat. I'm going to give it probably like 5 minutes here just for people to filter in. This will be up on my YouTube. Okay. All right. How have I been? I've been doing good, bro. My trading's getting kind of boring, which nothing wrong with that. I'm at 25K in payouts this month. Should be able to lock in another 15 at least, if not more. So I'm excited for that. Can I touch on entries as well? I can go over a couple entry conditions, but the main part of it is going to be framing your trades. And I'm going to go through some examples of framing on backtesting, and I'll go through some examples of people who I think have framed trades very well, who are posting in Trade Review each day. Typically, the people I'm picking for member trade of the day frame their trades excellently, and they're able to have that identification of the context of the market. They find the right location, and they're able to take great entries. Will you post on YouTube today? I have to leave soon, sadly. Yes, that's why I'm doing this live lesson in the Discord. I filmed this back in November. It was a great lesson. My mic was muted, unfortunately, so wasn't able to post that one up on YouTube. That's why I'm doing this one again. And I think it's important. This is probably one of the biggest things with trading is proper framing. So yeah. Triple check. Yeah, let's just check the OBS. Let's make sure the mic's going this time. It is. So I think we're good. And I am going to get a little music going for myself just so I can get in a little bit of a flow state here. And let me make sure that's muted on the OBS. I don't want to get copyright striked. Okay, cool. So let me get started here. All right. Okay, so framing trades. How do we want to go about framing trades? There's multiple ways to do this. A concept that's been kind of normalized from Carmine Rosado. He was the first one I've seen talk about this. I know Jaron uses this as well. Jaron's been very successful with this concept. It's CLC. What is CLC? It's context, location, and confirmation. Okay? So, what is each part of this? Context. This is going to be your market conditions. Is the market ranging? Is it breaking out? What's going on in the news cycle? That's all part of your context. Your location is going to be, is this in a key area? What are my key points of interest? Is it a supply zone? Is it a demand zone? Is it a value area low, value area high, POC, VWAP, standard deviation bands? Is it a fib? Is it a low volume node? There's a bunch of different things you can define for what you want your points of interest to be. You can also define entry conditions based off location. And the next part is going to be confirmation. What do you want to see at that location? Do you want to see consolidation? Do you want to see bulls start to run out of steam? Do you want to see bears start to run out of steam? Do you want to see bulls step up, bears step up? What do you want to see there? So I'm going to see if I can get profitable working. I think we're still under maintenance, so I won't have footprints here. I can see if I can pull up Bookmap instead. That's my other order flow tool, because I'd like to go through some things on the order flow side. If I can't get either of these tools pulled up, I will just be going through on candlestick charts. I think you can still be profitable with just candlestick charts. You don't need to be using order flow necessarily to be profitable. I got profitable trading off my phone in a office at my 9 to 5. So context, I would say, is where most of you guys are struggling. Most of you guys struggle with context, or you're struggling with confirmation. So I'm going to go through each part of the CLC system really quick. So let me hop over to a fresh chart with nothing on it. All I want on this is going to be, let me get rid of this really quick. I'm just going to have my sessions and my auto-anchored VWAP. And let me get the settings here, set up how I personally like to view charts. And then I will start to break down how I'm seeing the market, what context I personally like to apply, what conditions I'm specifically looking for. And then I'll also go through some stats that I like to apply into my trading. I'll go through the location bit as well, and then I'll go through confirmations. Confirmations I'm usually using order flow on if I can't pull those tools up. Okay, my Bookmap isn't going to pull up either, even though it's because I haven't set it up to be in my secondary drive. So I won't have those order flow tools, so I'll just have to go based off price action. I can pull in the CVD indicator, and that's a little bit of order flow. Volume profiles are also, I consider them order flow. So we'll go through that. Okay, overall context. So if I'm looking at gold, GC, what is my context for the last 2 weeks? We've been ranging. We've been in this range, but we've been making higher lows. There has been one lower low. It's broken below this low, but this was the lowest low. So we're making higher lows. We're also trying to breach these highs. This, to me, looks good for a breakout. What's going on in the news cycle? Well, we just had FOMC. And Powell, based off what he was saying, seems like we're not going to be getting rate cuts. There's a little bit of concern with the labor market. There's a number of different things going on with the market overall. There's also been a rotation out of tech stocks. Like NASDAQ. NASDAQ has been falling since it's come back up towards these all-time highs. There's been a major rotation out of tech stocks. You can even just see it in something like NVIDIA's price. NVIDIA was all the way up at 212. This is the biggest stock in the world. Now we're down to 175. This has not recovered nicely. So even if I'm a metals trader, even though these markets aren't technically related, I can still look at it in an objective glance and start to add in that additional layer of context where we are seeing some weakness in the economy. We're seeing a weakness in the labor market. There's concerns over it. The Fed doesn't want to cut interest rates going forward into 2026. They might give one cut. So there's a number of different things going on there. Silver's also been breaking out like crazy. Silver and gold are slightly correlated. So I want to lean towards bullish conditions on gold. Also, in this last area where we consolidated, we defended 4,000 very well. This year has been crazy for gold. We were able to defend 4,000. We started to break out. We got up near these highs where we previously struggled, and we rejected out of them. And now we're consolidating again. We're basing out. So if I'm trading in these last 2 weeks, I'm trading this range. I'm looking to short anything above this value area high, and I'm looking to long anything below this value area low on a larger time frame context. Now, that doesn't mean once we get below this value area low, I'm going to long it immediately, or we get above this value area high, I'm going to short it immediately. I'm just looking at the general context. When we've pushed above that value area high, we've rejected. When we've pushed below the value area low, we've bounced. So I only want to be considering this value area low and this value area high. This POC to me is now meaningless. I don't really want to be trading around this POC. You can see price gets very choppy around this POC. When we're in ranges, you really want to be trading the extremes. So context of gold right now, it's ranging. What happens on Wednesday? FOMC comes out, we get the rate cut. That's bullish for gold. We start to get this clean bounce. POC is used as support, and then you get that clean breakout of the value area high now. Okay, that goes into Thursday's session. Thursday's New York session, you get that clean breakout. Then on Thursday night, we consolidate in Asia. We continue to break out, okay? But if I'm looking to trade this in overall context, I'm going to go through a couple examples, right? So if I'm looking at, let's say, this New York session, okay? I like to trade Asia in gold. Most of my trades are happening in Asia now. I'm going to go ahead and pull a stat for you guys that I personally like to use. It's going to be on GC. I'm going to look at market session breakouts, and I'm going to look at New York and Asia. So this is saying Asia breaks New York's range. It's breaking one side of New York. So if I'm looking at this, this is the stat that I really like to use on most of my Asia setups. This is what I like to trade towards. So this is part of my location. I need to be aware of my New York highs and my New York lows. What's the context of New York if I'm trading in Asia? We sold off in New York. Okay, well, that's great. So my context is we sold off, we're below POC for the larger range. And let me go back to this specific session so we can see that the volume profile is showing us that we are below that New York range. I can also pull in my VWAP here from this New York session. I'm going to take the COMEX VWAP. Okay, we're trying to get above this VWAP. We previously rejected here once, twice, 3 times. Now we're trying to push above it. Okay, is there anything else I can add as a contextual layer? Let me look at this volume profile from COMEX as well. Oh, there's a value area high in here. So now my context is we're in this downtrend, we're near this value area low, we're trying to support, but it looks a little lackluster. I have my New York low here, that's a good location. That is one of the points I want to be aware of. We have a value area high up here. This is my other location point I want to be aware of. This VWAP isn't really giving me anything. As we come up to this value area high, immediately we see rejection. I want to trade towards this New York low. So I've defined my context. My context is we just sold off from value area high yesterday, right? So yesterday we sold off from value area high. We continued that downtrend into New York. We came below value area low for the larger range, and we tried to bounce, but this looks very lackluster to me. Now we're back at the value area high for this lower time frame range. I want to trade towards this New York low, even if I want to use a fib in here. Some of you guys just want to use fibs, you don't want to use volume profiles, you don't want to use VWAP, any of that. Well, you're right near your 618. That's an ideal trade location for you as well. So if I'm looking for a short here, I've got my locations defined, I've got my TPs, I've got my ideal area, which is that value area high where I would like to short it. What's the confirmation? Well, as this comes down, what do I want to see from this VWAP? I want to see a flush through this VWAP. Okay? See how many candles it takes to play out. Maybe we're bouncing off it. Okay? You get that flush through VWAP. Now, I can either take this trade as this candle prints down. I can take the trade as we're at this value area high. Or I can take this as it comes back up towards VWAP. So if I short this as it's coming back up towards VWAP, where's my stop going to be? It's going to be above the upper band, most likely. That's where I would like to place it. 350 is my risk. My TP is going to be down at that New York low. Okay, this starts to sell off. You get some good momentum. I would probably tighten my stop up in here. So now I'm break even, or my stop is slightly above VWAP. Now this trade might not go all the way down to New York low. I have to be aware of that. It doesn't. It comes up and it stops me out. That's okay. It happens. So your confirmation is there's heavy sellers below this VWAP. I shorted this looking for this New York low. It didn't hit. I actually took this trade. This was a trade that I took. I'll pull up my commentary. One second. Let me go through this. Okay. This is the exact trade that I took. Trying to short here on my Lucid accounts. This was on the 8th. This was on the 8th. Okay, so I shorted this off this pop up here. There was absorption at the highs. I could see it on my order flow tools. There's absorption. We came up again. There was more absorbed buyers in there. That was my confirmation. My confirmation was the absorbed buyers coming in. So I can see this here, right? Absorption here initially. Come up again, more absorption. Come up again, even more absorption. This was my confirmation to enter. Okay? No follow through on either side. This is annoying. Still in though. Okay? Stop to 4227, taking some risk off. Looks good now. Stops to 4224. I'm out. I got out at 9:15. Why did I get out here? Because this bounced right off this initial POC. So let me get rid of this extend right. This bounced right off that POC. I didn't like that personally. So I did get out of this trade, and then this came down lower, back down to that value area low. So I could have taken this all the way down to the value area low if I hadn't gotten scared out of it. It happens. But, I jumped out of it. So this is the framing behind it. There's absorption at these highs. It's our value area high. Our context is we're still in a bearish downtrend. We're heading towards the lows of this range. We're not all the way at the lows of the range yet. We might make new lows on this range. I want to short this to New York low. That's one of my location points. And my confirmation was the absorption of buyers up there. Now, price does come back up into that same area. You could short this again here. You could try it again here. I will give trades 2 attempts before I throw the idea out the window. Maybe you see more absorption up here. This comes down to VWAP, bounces, comes back up to that upper band. You could short here. You could look for the short at this upper band, back down to that New York low. So let's say you short this here. That first attempt, maybe you got stopped in profit, maybe you got stopped for a few points. It's the same trade idea. I'm taking the same trade idea. Maybe my risk is a little bit higher on this one. This starts to flush down. This is the momentum I was looking for, this strong momentum. Now I'm going to adjust my stop in. You could have it above VWAP. Now we are selling off below that COMEX VWAP as well. We're coming down. It's trying to bounce off that COMEX lower band. Here, I would adjust this in even lower. Now we're below that overnight VWAP band. It's holding well below it. You're getting some good momentum. I'm just going to trail my stop a little bit more aggressively. Boom, TP hits. So first attempt did not work on that one, but you could try it again. It's in the same location. It's in the same location, same context. You had the framing of this trade idea correct. The market just didn't give you what you wanted that first time, and that's okay. I will give that idea a second attempt, but do I instantly flip to longs here when I see this bounce out of this value area low? I could scalp this for longs, sure. But my overall idea is I still want to short to this New York low. So what should you be doing if you are struggling with flipping your bias, flipping your ideas, going from I want to short this to I want to long this? You're kind of jumbled up. Well, you should write down your thought process. I want to short this. Why? Context. Downtrend last 2 days in New York. Okay. Back at low time frame value area high. Absorption at low time frame value area high. Okay. New York low sweep is what I want to use. So my stat is saying one side of New York is going to break. Does this look like it's going to come up and break these New York highs? No, we're struggling up here. So I want to lean towards that New York low. Okay, so this is my idea. I want to have this in front of me. If you have trouble with framing it in your head, write it down. Put it on your trading view. Is this so hard to do? If I even go over to like Top Step X, you can still put text boxes on Top Step X. It's a trading view platform. Trading view is integrated in here. I can do the exact same thing. I want to short, right? You can do the same thing that you're doing here. Keep it in front of you. Keep it in front of you to keep you from flipping bias, flipping into, well, I want to get long, I want to get short, I want to get long. You need to have confidence in these trades. I see a lot of traders lack the confidence to hold through these good trades. They have these great ideas. Maybe they mismanage them. They think that their idea is not going to work out. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes time for these things to play out. So I need to be open to the idea of potentially getting stopped out. That first trade, I took it off here. I got 5 points out of it. That's still fine by me because my initial risk on that trade, I got in on this candle. My initial risk on that was $360. It was $360. I got 500 out of it. That's still more than one RR. Obviously, I would want it higher. I'm only risking 360. I was only going for 1250 because of consistency rules in these Lucid accounts, but I would look for this to come down to that New York low. This is a setup I take all the time. I look for this trade setup constantly in Asia and New York. So really define that context. Look at your higher time frames. Hop on the 15-minute. The 15-minute, it's pretty easy to see trends. In this range, it's been a little bit choppy on gold, but I can still see, okay, overall this is downtrend context. If you can't see the trend here, hop up to the 1 hour. Hop up to the 1 hour. What do you see? Okay, strong rejection, consolidation, strong rejection again, more consolidation. What should I expect? More strong rejection. So really get good at defining that context. Look at your higher time frames to give you that additional layer. Pull in some volume profiles. You can pull in fibs, whatever it is. But I define the context, define the location, value area high, and there's absorption there. That's my confirmation. So I have my location and my confirmation right in there. The additional layer of confirmation is I want to see strong sellers stepping up as we push through this VWAP. Initially there were, they just didn't push it all the way to the lows. Come back up, now you get strong sellers again. There's no buyers in here. There's no buyers in there. I'm going to pull up my cumulative volume delta to show you guys. Right, you come back up to this high. Okay, last time you were at these highs, you had less buyers in the market. You're at these same highs, you have more buyers. So you even have a CVD divergence in here. If I'm using these highs as my reference, okay, you make a slightly new high, but you make a much higher high on the CVD. This is another layer of context. It can be another layer of confirmation for you. Maybe you didn't take this first trade because there's no CVD divergence. Now you take this trade because there is a CVD divergence. And you can see those sellers stepping up, right? Now there's less sellers in this market as we approach the lows, right? As we're approaching these previous lows, you have less sellers in here. And then you just start to have more sellers pile in and dump us down towards that New York low. Okay? Is that making sense? I'm going to read through the chat really quick. What's the CVD indicator? It is cumulative volume delta on TradingView. If you're using Profitable, there is a CVD indicator built in here. It's the system's under maintenance right now, but let me see if I can show that on, yeah, it's in here. So this will label out CVD divergences for you. So it said there was a bullish divergence down at this low. There was a slight bullish divergence up at this high. This is based off a percentage system. So there's multiple different factors that go into this CVD divergence. I believe there's 5 or 6 different factors. One's time-based, one is how much volume's coming in. I'm forgetting the other ones. I don't know if Urge2's in here, but he could explain all of these 6 factors that go into that indicator. But yeah. Okay, so this was one good example of it. NQ stats aren't that great for which side breaks. Yeah, so that's something you guys have to consider. I pulled this stat from Profitable. I'm looking at my, oh wait, that's retracement, midnight open retracement. I can go through this one too, because this is another good one that I want to go through. Where was it? Market session breakout. So if I look at market session breakout for New York and Asia on ES, do I want to be using this stat? No. This stat it's 56%. This doesn't really give me an edge. But when I hop over to GC, this is a really good stat. 72%. This is the last 90 days. Let me check the last 5 years just to see if this stat is valid. And what you're going to see is the stat is going to be pretty valid. You can also see it in the charts. This New York low are like this, to me, this is a no break day because this New York low already swept in those after hours. Asia sweeps that New York high here. Asia sweeps that New York low there. Asia doesn't break either side in here. Asia sweeps that New York low. Asia sweeps that New York high. 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 So a lot of the time, Asia is breaking one side of New York. That's why I love this stat. I love to trade it. 80% of the time in the last 5 years, it sweeps one side of New York. I can hop over to something like silver as well. This stat is pretty good from what I've seen. Last 5 years, 80% again. So on the metals, this is a pretty relevant stat. I don't know if it's good on platinum or something like some of the other metals, but last 90 days, 75% stat. So high probability, I want to be utilizing this. If I hop over to something like midnight retracement, midnight open retracement, let me see if this is the right report. Midnight open retracement, it is. Okay, so if I look at GC, last 90 days, maybe this report isn't working properly. So I'm going to hop over to Edgeful because I do know that report is in Edgeful. Or we should check on that one. But it's going to be the ICT opening retracement. I'm going to look at this for NQ. And I want to look at this for London. So in London, this retraces most of the time in London on New York. Or sorry, London on NQ. So what this is the midnight open price. It's going to be called True Day Open from the ICT side. So if I look at NQ, this is pretty solid. I hop over to GC. If you open above, it's not very nice. Open below, it's decent. I personally don't use this stat in GC. If you look at the New York session, this stat is garbage. It's abysmal. 51%, 42%. If I go and hop over to NQ, 75% and 61%. So overall, it's good on the indices like NQ, ES, but it's bad on metals. So I need to consider those things when I'm trying to frame my trade. Should I be using this midnight open trade on GC? Probably not. Should I be using it on NQ? Yeah, absolutely. It works great on NQ. But on something like GC, it's bad. So I don't want to be using that stat. That's another thing with context. You want to consider what things are relevant for the asset that you are trading. Okay? I need to delete a video really quick just so I have some space on my hard drive because I haven't switched over hard drives. Okay? One sec. Let me just delete a video. I don't think this one's, let me see. This one's from July. It's probably not relevant. Okay. So that is some of CLC. I'm going to go through some more examples. No, the trade review from Friday does not have audio recording. I can go through trade review after I'm done recording this video. But if I'm looking at these member trades of the day, I pick a member trade of the day every single day when I do trade review, and I want to look at their framing. High time frame POC support / reaction, low time frame POC holding, value area low holding, bullish CVD. Okay, so he's identified the Witcho, the real Witcho, shout out. He's identified, okay, I have this bullish CVD where CVD is moving lower, but price action's moving higher. That's bullish to me. We also just bounce out of this 4,200 level, high time frame value area high. That's my context. High time frame POC, I think he mislabeled this because that was a value area high for me. Trade execution, upon analyzing price action, I couldn't help but notice how strongly we reacted off high time frame POC. Point of control not only instantly ended a super aggressive sell-off, but also had us trend up. Breakthrough low time frame value area low, push past lower VWAP band, and also push past low time frame POC. These are his confirmations. They are locations, but they're also confirmations. After this, we pulled back to find support where low time frame value area low time frame POC, and lower VWAP band aligned. So he has more locations that he's looking at. Saw a small rally after and started to consolidate right under VWAP. We've seen price consolidate right under VWAP during pre-market before our rally. Taking into this account, I also noticed how we started to have a bullish CVD right under our VWAP. 5-minute candle lows were starting to curve up, so I decided to enter a buy position. Zero drawdown straight to my 50% consistency target rule. Let's look at this. Okay, so his entry here, this is a great entry. Price just happened to start trending up as he got into this. Maybe if he got in this consolidation, he would have to see some drawdown. But and I don't know what indicator this is. This looks like an EMA to me, not a VWAP. So this, maybe his condition that he's looking for, his confirmation, is strong buyers pushing us up past that EMA or past a VWAP, something like that. But good entry on this. Didn't see any drawdown there. I think the framing is good here. Maybe the confirmation could use a little bit of something like order flow in there, or waiting for bulls to step up. Even if, he entered here, on this candle, once you start seeing that bullish price action start to print, I think that's appropriate. Or maybe even he entered after you break these highs, you come back, you retest these highs. That's your confirmation to enter. Either of those is appropriate. ESIPT over here, no notes on this. He took a great 15 to 1 or 12 to 1 RR trade. I know his context is good. He didn't put any framing there. Zeke always has pretty good framing. Framing price at upper end of range. So he's identifying where we are at in the range. Price was stalling out. Daily value area high, that's his location. Not sustaining above upper band. Breaking down at daily POC. 10-point scalp to VWAP. Good entry framing bias management. Okay. So he's looking at these highs. We're stalling out up here. Up at 4,200. And he's looking to short this. And he has a great entry on this. His stop is above here. When we consolidate like this and then you get that pop, I'm assuming there's absorbed buyers in here. I know Zeke does use order flow. So I'm assuming he saw something on the order flow there to give him that confidence to enter. Even if you waited on this entry, if you didn't enter here, this starts to form your displacement leg. You come back up into those consolidation lows. That can be your entry condition. I want to see buyers stall out up here. I want to see exhaustion from buyers on this slight pushback up. It's right near 4,200 as well. Big psych level. You could enter there if he didn't enter here already. And then his management of the trade is excellent. So think about those levels. Think about what the overall trend is, where we're looking at price. Plasma, I'm confused between bullish versus bearish context CVD on the market because some people can interpret that CVD moving lower. So bears are in control and some people can say CVD going down, price going up. Okay, I did cover CVD on a separate lesson, Plasma. I'm not going to go through all the different CVD conditions here, but I can talk about it later. I think CVD only takes into account market orders. Yep, it's only active orders. There's passive buyers, sellers, limit orders, and aggressive buyers, sellers, market orders. Yep, that is, I believe that is correct, where you're only considering active market orders into your CVD. Okay? If you're using CVD, think of who's in pain, who's not. I'm going to give you another example on CVD here. So on this breakout here, what are we seeing? Okay? What's happening on this Friday price action in Asia? Okay? Well, we just had a breakout. We just had this really clean breakout from our range. We had a positive FOMC. Price defended this initial FOMC pump. So I want to consider that. Price defended in this region. This was part of the FOMC. This was the initial pump up. It also aligns with these previous highs from pre-market and that New York session before we had FOMC. So price defended there. Then you start to get this nice, clean, bullish trend. If I'm trading Thursday night in Asia, what do I want to be using? I want to be using that stat, that Asia stat, where Asia will sweep one side of New York. And what's relevant to me here? What's relevant in this price action? Well, I'm going to go on the higher time frame first. Okay, this is my volume profile for that entire range. And I'm just going to extend this out into this Asia session. I'm going to actually just go on the replay feature. And I'm going to go back a little bit further. So as I'm coming into this Asia session, okay, I want to extend right. All right. And then the other thing I want to do, I'm going to pull a higher time frame profile. What is relevant to me in this high time frame profile I'm about to draw? Well, we have our highs of the range up here. This is how I draw my volume profiles. I look at where price action highs and where price action lows are at. These are the lows. I want to see where was the last time price intersected these lows. There's no further highs. So I don't really need to care about where price action is at there. So I'm going to take my volume profile from all the way back here. So if I draw this volume profile out, this high time frame volume profile, what do I notice? Okay, what information is relevant to me? This is the context part. If I'm looking at this, well, we are above this value area high. In New York session, we bounced out of this twice. So we came down, bounced out of it twice, very cleanly. Now I'm going to get rid of these VWAPs really quick. Okay. So this is what's relevant to me. This value area high is holding so far. It's a high time frame value area high too. So this is showing strength from bulls. Then what else do I want to consider? Do I want to take the volume profile for this entire range? I don't really care about this entire range. It's too far out. I don't care about this price action on the lower end. All I care about is we have highs up here. We have lows down here coming into Asia. So I want to take this last breakout candle. Now I have my volume profile. We came back up to this value area high. Looks like we're rejecting here initially. It's going to shift up. Okay. What else should I notice? This POC is defending so far. We start heading lower. Okay. Now we're at this value area low. We're at this value area low. We're back down towards these range lows for the end of the New York session. I want to lean towards this New York high breaking because we're in a bullish uptrend on the higher time frame. We just broke out of consolidation. We had a bullish day on Wednesday. We had a bullish day on Thursday. So Thursday night, I'm expecting this trend to continue. Okay. And I'm going to show you that this is the exact analysis that I personally performed on that night. This is on the 11th, 5:57 p.m. What date is this? The 11th. This is before market open. This is the exact profile I had. Looking for continuation higher off this gold rally. We bounced twice off high time frame value area high and held up in New York PM. I'm showing you my exact analysis. I'm just breaking it down further for you guys. I want you guys to be self-sufficient traders. I personally don't even like posting signals in my Discord. No resistance till 4370. Note that level. Why do I have 4370? So I've identified a location. My context is we're in a bullish rally. I need to have other locations outside of this range. Now, why am I looking at 4370? Well, this is a supply zone right before we sold off. So I'm going to keep this in mind. We don't have a value area high up there from a high time frame range. I can't really use that. I can't utilize it. But I want to be aware that there's potential resistance up there. It's a supply zone. It's where we sold off aggressively from. So as we come down towards this level, what else should I notice? 4,300. Again, big psych level. So if I'm looking to trade this, right, this is, and let me get my VWAP back on here. I don't know why it came off. It's probably because I deleted it. VWAP. I like VWAP with my bands. Okay. So what I'm looking at here is we're well above this New York or this previous day's VWAP. I can pull my COMEX VWAP in here as well. If you want to do that, add that additional layer of context. I'm going to take the bands off because these are a little bit far. I'm just going to pay attention to this VWAP. So we're above this VWAP, this COMEX VWAP, holding up at this value area high. We have our range established for Asia. This comes down to this value area low. It starts to consolidate, right? And it sits on this lower band. This trade might take a while to play out, but if I'm here, if I'm in this region and I want to take a trade, what am I going to do? I'm going to take the long in here. I'm going to set my stop loss. I can either set it to these Asia lows, but I have the possibility of getting stopped out. It's more likely I'm going to get stopped out if I just set this at Asia low. We could break down further, retest this value area high again. So personally, I would have my stop a little bit past this value area high. Now I'm going to set my TP at this New York high. I still have a positive RR in this. I could even go as far as $900. This is still 2 to 1. That's totally appropriate. Give this trade some room. If you're not comfortable with minis, use micros. Give your trade some room to breathe. You have this idea. Let's write it out. What are we doing here? Okay, we want our framing to be on point. What's our context? Just had FOMC. We're bullish off it. Okay. We had a breakout of the range. New York PM held up. Held up. Silver is also breaking out. So if I'm looking back here on silver, silver's also breaking out very cleanly. It's breaking all-time highs. Not necessarily correlated with GC. There is some slight correlation there. I want to trade the asset that's in front of me. I don't want to pay too much attention to silver, but I want to think about it. New York PM held up. Silver is also moving higher. Okay. So I want to lean bullish just based off this general context. What's my location that I want to pay attention to? Location. 4,300. Big psych level. What else is my location? Value area high, or value area low of the low time frame profile. And then I want to consider my value area high of my high time frame profile. Okay? So these are my locations. The other location I have here is 3970. 3970, 4370. I don't know why I went 3970. 4370, potential resistance. And then my New York high. What's my New York high? 4317. Okay? So, this is my context. This is my location. Now I'm just waiting for my confirmation. You can use order flow tools with this. So, maybe I didn't take the trade here. Maybe I did just based off the location. You can either take trades purely based off location, or you can take trades based off location with confirmation. So you could either take the trade here just as we're back near this value area low, you're not looking for this to break down, or you could wait for this to have some pickup, and as this comes up to VWAP, what do I want to see? I want to see buyers coming in at this VWAP. Okay? You're having some positive CVD in here. You have more buyers coming in. We've tried to break above this VWAP a couple times before, and we haven't gotten above it. So let's say I didn't take this trade here. Well, now I'm going to take it as we break VWAP. Maybe you're a momentum trader. If I take this as this breaks VWAP, where's my stop going to be? Below the value area low. My TP is still going to be in the same location. There's different ways to trade this. You guys should be thinking about what kind of trader you want to be. Do you want to trade only based off momentum? Do you want to only trade at extremes of ranges? Do you only want to scalp? Because if you are also scalping this, you take this at the value area low, maybe your stop's tighter, it's at these Asia lows, and you just take it back up to VWAP. That's totally appropriate too. Everyone's a different type of trader. But I should still be thinking in terms of my context, my location, and what confirmation I'm looking for in there. So this is still the same for everything. Okay? If I'm looking at this, as this comes up above the upper band, it gets up to that value area high, what do I want to see? I don't want to see rejection. That upper band is used as support. That's what I want to see. So if I'm going for the high momentum trade, I'm going to bring my stop in. You could even bring it into that wick. This upper band is still being used as support. It's used as support again. Okay, and then this comes up and it sweeps out that high. Cool. Maybe you only want to take this trade after you see it above the upper band and it's supported. So once this wicks down a second time and it supports, right? It supports here. Look at your CVD as well. You're back, you're almost making new highs of this Asia session, but your CVD is lower. So this is a bullish CVD divergence. If I take this here, I'm going to set my stop slightly below VWAP, and I'm going to look for the momentum trade all the way up to 4370. Maybe I'm up late in Asia. Maybe I'm able to trade it But I just want to show you a general example of this. Once you get this clean momentum, well, now my stop's going to come up to just above, or sorry, just below that upper band. Maybe I can bring it up to that value area high. I want to see that used as support. Once this starts trending heavy to the upside, okay, we've already broken that New York high. I'm looking for the breakout trade. Maybe I put this trade on before I went to sleep, and I just adjusted my stop and left my TP all the way up at 39.70 or 43.70. I don't know why I keep going to 39. So this starts to come up. If I went to sleep with this on, maybe I had my stop up here just slightly in profit or at break even. This is fine. And then this has a monster rally. What do we notice on the CVD? Your CVD is moving lower, your price action is moving higher. What's happening here? Buyers are getting invalidated. Sellers are getting invalidated. They're getting put in pain. They are not getting any reward for this. I saw Zeke was awake during this. He was sending some screenshots from order flow tools, and there was heavy sellers all the way up here, and they're getting put in extreme pain here. This is a very strong uptrend. This is even trending along the second standard deviation band of VWAP, which barely happens on gold. But on a strong trend like this, I want to consider my next location. My next location is this 43.70. So I'm just going to put my TP at the bottom of this resistance area. We do go higher past that, but it does come out and sweep that. Okay. I shorted this, stopped in profit, but had a monster rally. Okay. Yeah, this is in London. So I'm not awake during this usually, unless my insomnia is kicking my ass, like it was last week. But this was a crazy rally. If I'm coming into pre-market, what should I look for in pre-market if I'm this New York trader? My context is still, we just had FOMC. We're still bullish. We're breaking out of the range. Okay, this New York PM held up. I don't care about this coming into New York. Silver, what happened with silver coming into New York? This started to struggle a little bit. So I can look at this, and that could be an additional layer of context. Silver is struggling. Now it's not moving higher. Silver is struggling compared to gold. Silver struggling. Struggling to continue breakout. Okay? My location, 4,300 doesn't matter anymore. 4,300 does not matter anymore. We're too far away from it. What's my location? We're above value area high. We're at a resistance level. So this 43.70, that's still relevant. Okay? New York high, this is no longer relevant. What's something else I can pull into here, though? Okay, there's another stat. Let me get this pulled up. Okay. If I'm looking at this, what does this stat tell me? From 3 a.m. to 11 a.m., 3 a.m. to 11 a.m., the 15-minute orb on London likes to do double breaks. So this lasts till 11 a.m. So what I should consider here is, okay, we have our London low down here. We didn't do a double break here. We broke the high. We broke that high. This is your London orb high. London orb low didn't double break. So that's another bit of context I can pull in based off the stat. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come down and sweep it. I need to have the proper context. Context. We're pushing into this resistance zone. Okay? If I'm just looking at this profile, what else do I notice? Well, this is all low volume. This is all low volume in here. So if this starts to break down past this volume shelf, what do I expect to happen? I expect this to flush really hard. And what is my target going to be? It's going to be that London low. Another thing I should look at, and I'm going to pull profitable for this because Edgefull doesn't even have this report. VWAP standard deviation return. And I'm going to look at the wick high-low, and I'm going to look at the full day, 6 p.m. Eastern. What I'm going to look at here is my second standard deviation band. The return rate is 98%. 98%. Okay? So now my context is we've hit that second standard deviation band. We haven't returned to VWAP at all. So I want to be aware of that. This could continue to be a bullish breakout, but we're pushing into this resistance zone. We have low volume, a very big volume channel. This London low has not swept out yet, and we haven't returned to VWAP. So now I just need my confirmation. I have my location, my previous resistance. I have areas where I would like to TP, this London low or this VWAP. I've got two of them. I'm going to wait for sellers to step up. So here, we're making much higher highs than London, or we're making slightly higher highs than London. Your CVDs now started to stall out. You start to have sellers coming in. Okay, let's start to play this out a little bit further. We're holding this upper band still. Still holding it. New York comes out. You had this wick out, this crazy wick out. You're having sellers start to push us down a bit. Maybe I consider the short in here. I'm looking at this short. I would set my stop at the highs. I'm going to just look for VWAP initially. I'm going to use two contracts here so I can potentially scale. And I'm going to look for those London lows. Okay, wicks out, it stops me out. That sucks. It happens. I didn't have the full confirmation in there. This comes back down again. Now this looks like there are aggressive sellers coming in here. You wicked out again. I'm going to try it a second time. But I'm not flipping bias. This is a very wide stop, by the way. So I'm going to try it a second time. I like to give my ideas 2 attempts. You have aggressive sellers stepping up. Okay, this starts to dump. I would take one off here at VWAP. There's still aggression in here. You want to bring your stop in. You could have waited. You could have waited for this value area high to break or this volume shelf to break and avoided that first stop out as well. So if I'm going through this trade again, okay, let's go on a lower time frame. Let's go down to the 1 minute. I want to be aware of this volume shelf. So where's this volume shelf at? It's at the edge of this blue box that I have marked out. Okay, I'm going to start playing through this. Just 1 minute at a time. I would also, I know this is under maintenance, but the replay feature in Profitable, this is probably the best replay feature I've seen on a tool. It's better than FX Replay, it's better than TradingView, it's better than TradeZella, it's better than all of them. This, you can go and you can replay tick by tick. You can set this to real time and replay what's happening in the market in this says 1 second per tick. So if you want to do that, you can scale it up all the way up to 60 seconds per tick. I believe this is supposed to be 60 ticks per second instead of 60 seconds per tick. Maybe that needs a correction in there just for labeling purposes. But this, you can play out the candles extremely slowly, and you can see exactly where you would like your entry condition to be. So here, this breaks below the upper band again. You start selling off. I'm going to enter once this breaks that value area high. It starts to break that shelf. I'm that momentum trader. I'm just going to look for this down to VWAP. This isn't a positive RR. It's not super positive, but this is still fine to me. This starts selling off down to VWAP. You could scale one here. You could also just scalp that off the momentum. And then this keeps selling off into that London low. If you miss this trade, what happens here? We come back up to VWAP, try to push above it. So maybe I don't want to take this trade. Maybe I don't want to take that momentum trade. Well, there's another trade in here. I still have that London low as my target. We've started to break down. We've set that IB low down here. I'm going to short this based off VWAP, and I would look at the order flow as well. And you're probably not going to be able to see a good CVD divergence here, but I'm going to short this at VWAP. This range is very large, and I'm just going to look for that London low. This is an appropriate trade as well. You could even get in as it breaks through VWAP again if you don't want to short this as it comes back above VWAP. But if you're able to see exhausted buyers or absorbed buyers as it comes up to that VWAP, that's a good short too. So went through a couple different conditions on something like GC. You can also use the IB, you can use ORB, but really think about this context. What's the context you're trading in? How long do you want to hold the trade? Are you a scalper? Are you a momentum trader? Are you a range trader? Do you only trade at extremes of ranges? You have to think about these things if you want to be a profitable trader. What fits your personality type? What's intuitive for you? You can't just, you're probably going to find success in multiple of those areas: momentum, scalping, range trading. You can find success in multiple of them, but it's best when you are a beginner trader, you're trying to find profitability, find success in one of them. Find success in one of them and really dial in on that. And then as you develop as a trader, I want to get better at momentum trading. I want to get better at holding my trades. I want to get better at range trading. Keep your focus on one side of this and really try to hone in on just one of those types of trading. Okay? Let me go through chat really quick. Do you guys have questions? I know it's been an hour since I've started teaching. Okay? CVD, yeah, this is a good resource. So you have multiple different conditions for your CVD. You have bearish divergence. You have higher highs, but higher high, lower high in a bearish trend. This, when I'm looking at, I showed that example on Thursday night, right? You're getting higher highs in your trend, in this trend here. Here, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so you're getting higher highs on your price action, but you're getting lower highs on your CVD. But you have a bullish trend. This is your hidden bullish CVD divergence. You need to identify the context if you're using CVD. Are we in an uptrend? Are we in a downtrend? Well, we're in an uptrend and we're breaking out. So I don't want to be looking for this example where you're making higher highs but lower highs on your CVD, and then you head back into a bearish trend. I want to identify that this is breakout conditions, breaking to the upside, and this bullish divergence is positive for my trade direction. So a bunch of different examples of CVD in there. Gold is so hard to trade, in my opinion. Some people love gold, some people hate gold. I've personally been finding really good consistency with gold. I'll block NQ on my accounts. If y'all want to go from gold to NQ, I'd recommend running ES first. It's not as manipulative and wiki. Yeah, ES is a little bit easier to read. Gold chops a lot. How do I avoid fake outs? Okay. Yeah, so gold likes to get choppy, get rangy. I would say utilizing VWAP and its standard deviation bands helps a lot. Even this, to me, is very choppy. Do I want to be trading in this? Not really. I want to see more price action develop. This looks like this lower band's being used as support. Comes down below it, but you don't get a heavy downtrend below this. It just starts to consolidate, and it's holding these lows. So I want to lean towards the upside there. Let me see if there's another good example of this. So here you get this clean uptrend, sweeps out those New York highs, and then it starts to downtrend. You get this VWAP. It comes back up to VWAP. I want to check my order flow tool, see if there's exhausted buyers or absorbed buyers up there. And then I want to take this down to the lows. Like, this is a pretty clean trend, but I don't want to be trading this in here. I don't want to be trading this in here, really, unless I'm just scalping this from the lower band back up to VWAP, or from VWAP back to the lower band. Here, this Asia session, this is very choppy at the highs. I did short this, right? Wait, is this the right Asia session? No, I'm thinking about the 8th. The 8th here, this is very choppy. Very choppy. I did short this here just based off the absorption. But if I'm looking to take this all the way to these New York lows, your buyers start to come in here. I need to be able to properly manage my stops. So a lot of it is risk management. Even in bullish context, should VWAP hold and then look to get long? Well, you want to see what happens at VWAP. Okay, so here as we come up above VWAP, what's happening here? I want to go into my order flow tool and I want to see, is there exhaustion, is there absorption up here? We come back up to that VWAP again. I want to see, is there absorption or exhaustion? If we're still in a bearish downtrend, so I don't want to be looking for this breakout here because I know we failed to push above VWAP previously. Again, here we failed to push above VWAP. So on this next attempt, maybe I short this here. Or once this starts to break back down below VWAP, this is my entry condition. It pushes back up to VWAP. That can be my entry condition. I have a problem where I always want to bottom tick freaking trades, and if I didn't catch the bottom and just watch it go without me. Yeah, you have to be content with what you're taking. Okay. My context is right. It's just where I get in that screws me over. So you need to improve. You need more confirmation. Is this not enough confirmation? As this comes down to this upper band, well, this has previously defended the upper band. You could try to take a long off this. This is a heavy uptrend. This, yeah, you could try this. If you get stopped on it, you would have gotten stopped on it, right? You would have gotten stopped off this initial sell-off through the upper band. So this comes down to the upper band, it supports, then it tries to break it right at New York Open, fails. So maybe I didn't take this one, but maybe I tried this one. I get stopped on it. Okay, well, I'm going to try it again the next time it comes down there and tries to break through it. This, to me, looks a lot more meaningful. You have a nice wick there. You come up, you have another nice wick there. Now I'm going to short this once I get that heavy momentum coming in. How can we get over the idea that we want to do everything? Focus. You need to be focused in on just one setup, one type of trading. I want to scalp. I want to hold trades longer. I want to do everything. Okay. So you need to just focus in on one of those things and just get really good at whichever one kind of draws you towards it, whether it's scalping or momentum trading. You want to focus in on that area, right? You want to focus in on scalping, for example. I think scalping is probably the easiest to learn if you're trading something like gold, because you're really just scalping from VWAP bands up to VWAP, or you're scalping band to band. That to me is easier than trying to hold these trades for a long time. If I'm trying to hold this trade, if I shorted here and I'm trying to hold this trade, or maybe I shorted off this VWAP tap, and I'm trying to hold this trade, I have to sit through this for a very long time. I have to be very confident in the trade working out. I have to be confident in myself. I have to be patient because this takes a while to play out. If I shorted up here, if I shorted back here off this VWAP, this push back above VWAP, and this also, okay, this doesn't break IB low, but there's no IB in this yet. But if I shorted here, and I'm looking for this to come back down to these FOMC highs, how long do I have to sit in this? This is something that I think a lot of you guys go through back testing, and you're not realizing how long you have to sit through this. I shorted here. If I shorted here at 9 p.m., or what was it? It was yeah, it was like 8:50 or 9 p.m. I have to sit through this trade for 45 minutes. Am I okay with that? Yeah, I am, based off my stats. Let's look at my stats. What's my average hold time? 35 minutes. 35 minutes. So I'm perfectly okay with that. But for some of you guys, you might get anxious holding a trade for 35 minutes. Or maybe I take the same short and I'm just looking for those FOMC highs previously. But maybe I'm shorting here and I'm looking for all the way down to these FOMC lows. I'm an ICT trader. I love data lows. I want that FOMC low. Well, I'm sitting through this for, I've been in this for more than an hour. This downtrend's strong. Maybe I just bring my stop into this pivot point. What happens if this comes back and stops me out? Do I get mad? Do I get angry that it stopped me out? I didn't get my full profit. I'm up $3,000 here, bro. I'm up $3,000. And I drew this zone after the fact, so I don't have this zone in here. If I'm trading this, what I would be looking at is, it's hard to draw a zone in here. So if I'm back here, right? But what do I notice? Oh, high time frame POC. Higher time frame POC. It's also, yeah, this is higher time frame POC. So maybe that I was just shorting down towards POC. But if I'm looking for these data lows, am I going to be happy with this $3,000? Am I going to be happy with this 1,100? Or am I only going to be happy if it hits my TP? And I'm right. You're going to be wrong over and over and over again. You need to get used to it. So if I take this off, am I happy with that? What if this keeps running down to the lows? Same example on Friday. Am I happy just taking this up to New York highs in Asia? If I long down here, let's say I used a lot of size on this. I like to use more size. If I just take this up to New York highs, it's $5,700. That's a lot of fucking money. But if this comes up, it hits my TP, and then I look at it, I look at this in the morning, and I see, holy fuck, this ran all the way up to 39.70, and I was in down at 42.96. How much money is that? How much money did I just leave on the table? Am I going to FOMO back into longs because of it? You have to consider the mental aspect of these things. So let's step through this. Maybe I put this trade on at night and I had my TP all the way up there. Okay, this is what I potentially left on the table because I fell asleep or whatever it is. But if I'm looking at this, my initial TP was this New York high. Maybe I went to sleep in here. This is where I wanted to go to sleep at. I bring my stop up. Well, my initial TP was what, $5,000? If this stops me out for 2K, am I going to be happy with it? Yeah, I'll be perfectly happy with 2K. Why? Because I missed this breakout trade. And this was really easy because I was asleep through most of it. But if I miss this breakout trade and I come back and maybe I got stopped out or maybe I just took my TP at New York highs, I'm more focused on the consistency. Can I consistently pull profits out every single day? Yes, I can. I personally can. I've been trading for 4 years though. So if that's tripping you up, then like you need to be happy with consistency, right? Could I make more money on these Lucid accounts? Yeah, I could make more money on these Lucid accounts. But overall, look at my daily P&Ls. I'm green most of these days. And this is partially labeled wrong just based off the way this imports it. I can actually pull up those Lucid accounts as well. So let me get logged in there. And I'll show you my Top Step X stats. It's going to look the same. But as long as I'm able to be consistent, I'm happy with it. A lot of you guys are not content with what you're able to make. You should look at your stats, realize what you can make on an average day, what you're doing well with, whether that's scalping, whether that's momentum trades, and just be okay with it. So these are my Lucid accounts. These are my stats. The win rate's a little skewed on this because I did have to lose some money on some of these days to fit inside the consistency target. But look at the calendar view. This is, what, 13 trading days? So not even that big of a sample size on trading days, but I'm happy with this. I'm perfectly content with this. Could I be up $20,000 on the month right now? If I sized up and I was going for crazier setups, yeah. But what I'm happy with is I'm hitting a consistent target and I'm just able to pull money out every single day. This should be my goal. Okay. All right. So that is framing trades. If you're watching this on the YouTube, hope you got something out of it. If you have comments, questions, suggestions for videos, let me know. Leave a like, subscribe. I'm wanting to put up more content for you guys. So hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to sit in the Discord here